Good evening. Just sitting up. I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted flash, but I realized it does help with, I don't know, just feels nicer to have. Um, I hope that I'm heard properly. I hope that I'm heard. I hope that I'm heard. Okay, whatever. Anyway, good evening. Um, I hope that it has been an eventful time. Um, we are coming to the end of April, to the end of a very potent, very spiritually potent month. As we all transition into our respective warmer, colder seasons, um, some shit going down. Lots of realizations, lots of realizing things, um, and realizing things that, um realizing things that you never thought that. Okay, let me speak for myself. I'm realizing things that I'm I'm realizing things that I'm realizing things that are forcing changes that I didn't think would need to happen so urgently, so soon, with such a force. Like I thought I could just lightly decide. Um, um, yeah, I thought I could just lightly decide about the future that I want, about the people that I want, about that which serves me and that which no longer serves me. But it turns out that there needs to be a lot more oomph in the decisions, a lot more intention. How many times are we going to need to hear that? How many times? It turns out there are many layers to the way that we apply our attention and intention. There is a lot of science to the way that we do our manifesting and our living, to the way that we align to what we want, the communities that we want. There's so much science to it that actually hasn't yet been researched, hasn't yet been discussed. There isn't enough writing, not enough of this white internet that we use has enough details. So we are we are performing experiments in real time, gathering evidence in real time, and obviously there's going to be a lot of pressure on our minds, on our hearts, on our bodies, on our communities, on the people that we relate to, the people who we're used to knowing, changing right in front of our eyes, morphing form right in front of us. We ourselves are morphing right in front of us in real time, right in front of ourselves in the mirror. I've come with a lot of notes and a lot of things to discuss, a lot of contemplations that I actually, considering everything that I have here, I don't even think that I'll be able to put it all. It's a lot. Um, so I think I'm gonna have to sift through. I'm gonna have to sift through everything to kind of come up with the important bits. But the first sentence that I have typed here says, "You are incredible. Thank you for showing up." Um, thank you for showing up every. Okay, thank you for showing up every day in pursuit of truth. And then I followed with, "This pursuit is about to become a lot more complicated." Read as fun, but still a lot more complicated. Um, so I said, "The truth is a lot more complicated to find than you'd assume, considering the amount of amazing work that's been done. We've done a seeking and would think that real alignment is true as day, that we get closer to one point. Our level up means dealing with seedier illusions. As we approach the dot, it expands into a huge hole with more depth." And in brackets, I put, "Everything small is just a small version of something big." Um, which, if you watch Adventure Time, you know I'm quoting from that. So um, that is the that is the foundation of what I'm opening up with, um, and is, I think, the lens, the new kind of like lens we'll have to put on as we walk further and further. Every week I'm talking about us walking into the future. It's like, as we walk, as we continue walking this journey, there are new doorways, new patches of land, new kind of obstacles, new rocks, new trees, new bugs, new weather. You know what I mean? It's totally new terrain, and um, the complication is in the newness and in how a lot of things are going to feel so unfamiliar that we won't have any other choice but to rely on our intuition and to move from whatever intention it is that we have laid out for ourselves, which is why intention is so important. Because you know it's while there's a whole bunch of actual action and labor and whatever else that we'd have to put into like living, it's all is rooted and connected to our intention, which is what's going to matter most, which is going to be the true reflection of our lives, our actions, the things that we do, the people we connect with, the things we say. um, which is why as well, the position that we have as healers and other people who are actively visible on social media are the positions we have are very sensitive, very serious, very intense. Because, for example, me putting myself out here like this, I'm basically putting my intention out for show. I'm putting my truth out. That is my intention, essentially, is that I just really hope to be authentic and honest and helpful and rooted in love, but more in truth, you know, and in fairness, because that's just how my mind is programmed. Um, but that's a whole other thing. All of that to say, though, that, and this links to the points that I've put in the notes, in the note that I have, um, to zone in and get very specific. I've been building up to what I'm about to mention, but I believe that it's going to become a lot more important, especially now going as for us in the southern hemisphere. Our descent into the underworld is going to bring up a lot of underworld stuff, so that we should be paying very close attention to, like I said, people who make themselves visible on platforms. I am specifically talking, though, I would like to specifically point to the people in the healing community. Um, watch everyone with a very close eye, because the things that we say, I mean, everything does come from a certain intention, right? But the things that we say, especially in our community, I feel like in the spiritual community, the holistic woo woo chakrahan vibe, all of us, and it's, again, I keep going like this, please bear with me. All of us, it feels like, I've been building up to, I've been mentioning this, it feels like we're all pulling from the same basket of words and we're all saying the same things. Um, we're all kind of doing the same things, and it's starting to feel really stale, fishy, very strange. Um, so that keeping an eye on all of us, including me, keep an eye on me too, will be the act of discerning and telling who's true, who's real, who suits you, right? Who resonates with you. But I'd like to also put out the, excuse me, request for us to keep a keen eye on those who are true, those who mean what they say, and those who are actually rooted in spiritual advancement, community inclusion, truth, love, the God stuff, you know. and respect to indigenous culture. That's very, because of how we're all basket of words, we're all using the same things, doing the same things. It's very easy to pretend and to look as if you're doing the right things, to pay proper respects. But um, what I found, especially in the past year, is that healers a lot of healers in our community, and I mean, I think we've also seen it via social media. Um, yeah, I'm sure we've seen enough via social media that a lot of healers aren't who they say they are, or they have a power to them, which is undeniable, but their hearts are absolutely not true. Their hearts are very tainted and they have very skew intentions, very twisted. Because of how be- because of how energetic our community, our entire community is, and the ideas that we work with, the ideas themselves, the things we speak about themselves hold so much power. It's very dangerous to follow and hear and heed the words of the wrong person. And I think, especially in times like these, where you have, for example, some healers talking about how you need to strictly focus on the light, focus on positivity, when the world is burning, when there are children dying, when there's a lot of righteous um, social political work that needs to be acknowledged. And that is the foundation of the work that we're doing. You you might end up being part of this really twisted spiritual movement that is not at all focused on healing, but is rather just a very fancy shamanic version of colonization. so so that yes, the illusions as an extension of the what I've put in the title, the illusions are getting very intense. You may find, which is what I found last year, moving through, learning about e- everyone, and yeah, learning about the faces. You may find that there's someone online who you deeply respect, says the right things, everything's great. And then you meet them in person and you look them in the eye or you shake their hand and you experience them in real time and you realize this is actually a piece of shit. And they have tons of followers and they have a practice and they have many students who they take under their wing, but they're a piece of shit. So, yeah, the illusions are getting really serious. And the need for truth, as I started this live stream with, the need for truth and the intention, um, you can't just lightly decide that you want to align to your truth. You can't just lightly decide that you want an abundant future and whatever. You have to, you know what I mean? You have to be serious about it and be passionate about it and action it and do the thing that will match to the intention that you have to align to abundance and to truth. But mostly what I've been sensing is that we just need to we need all right. So these past few weeks since Venus retrograde, I think it felt very self-orientated. It felt very much like needing to take stock of who you are and how much you're pouring into yourself, how you feel about yourself, whether or not your outside how closely your outside world reflects your inner world. And it feels like those tests are done. It feels like everything that needed to take place, everything that needed to reveal itself about what we may be missing about ourselves and our relationship with ourselves is done. It feels now like we need to do the other work now. The other, as in the other. Release the self, return back into our communities, and show up show up in a way that will reflect the intention that you've just been working on now with yourself over these past few weeks. Libra, full moon, Venus retrograde. It feels like it's time to put that into action, and in putting that into action we are going to receive pushback from the universe that will allow us to integrate the lessons that we've learned over the past few weeks. And again, as always, learn more about ourselves, learn more about how we want to love, show love, be love, embody love. I actually wrote something here. Oh, and victimhood. That's very important. So the sentence I have here about victimhood says, we are needing to clear it in all of its forms. And this is specifically with regards to colonization, the Western world, white people, etc., etc. Mm, I said, and I typed it in this way: frankly, you will not receive anything staying mad at colonizers. Holding that anger, not processing or actioning it, keeps you blocked. So the difference, I typed that the difference between their ability to manifest abundance and the oppressed community's ability to manifest abundance is that frequency of victimhood. That is to say that things like blaming is victimhood, saying they're so lucky they get to, I do this a lot with white people, saying that they're so lucky that they come with no generational baggage, for example. That's victimhood. Um, Saying things like they stole from us and continue to take from our knowledge and make it their own, that's victimhood. Because the fact remains that they are doing that, yes, but what are you doing? Irregardless of what white people and colonizers, regardless of what they're doing, what are you doing? And that's what it boils down to ultimately. You have all these desires, you have intention, you have a vision for what you want and how you want to live your life. What exactly are you doing in order to bring that about? Um, to personalize it, I have right now, the only clear intention I have, because of how totally uncertain I am about the future and the way that life is unfolding right now, the only clear intention I have is that of love and truth. And the way that I am deciding that I can reflect that in my life is via trying my best to be as honest as possible with myself in each moment. I'm constantly checking in with myself to make my life as aligned to my truth as possible. I found over these past few weeks, especially, that my truth is that I am slow. I like to go at my very own pace, and I like to really savor each moment of life. I like to eat slow. I like to taste slow. I like to take my time to laugh at jokes and ring the joke out. Like, I find it funny now. I may find it funny a few seconds later. I may find it funny a few minutes later. I want to keep laughing and keep that laugh within me for as long as it stays in. I enjoy, I've really realized, especially over these past few weeks, that children mean a lot to me, and the frequency of children mean a lot to me. So that it's not just the topical layer of, oh, so then maybe I should become a teacher. I am going out of my way to spend time with children and their frequency, to uphold them, to listen to them, prioritize them, put them in front of even my own needs sometimes, so that Um, if I'm hungry and a child wants to be in my company, then I can be hungry for a little more. Let me be with the child, you know? And I take that very seriously. Um, I take it so seriously that it's I've allowed it to take over my life. I've allowed my intentions to take over my life. To say that I refuse I refuse to sign up into any mode of thinking or way of living that is based on survival. Um, I I insist on trusting my universe and my God and my surroundings, the people who love me, as far as possible, so that I never, ever, ever subject myself to a moment of, oh, I have to do this because how else will I survive? I will never, I mean, it's been very difficult facing the inner conflict that brings up, but I'm sticking to it. I refuse to live my life in the name of survival or in the name of, but if I don't do this, then I fear what could happen if I don't do this. Um, Nothing out of fear, nothing because I'm scared. Everything because of the rooted intention of the fact that it's my truth. I just feel like it. I want to live every minute of my day in love. I want to embody love. I want to embody being there for my community, upholding them, supporting um, supporting that sense of togetherness, supporting flow, supporting vulnerability, self awareness, shit like that. Um, and taking that to an extreme level, taking that to such an extreme level that, again, I guess it feeds into my inability to understand what's to come, to understand how to plan for the future. I do not do 5-year plans. I don't. I don't even do few month plans. I barely even plan for tomorrow. Although, now that I speak on it, it may be useful in order to kind of align my energy, but what I'm essentially just getting at here is that we need to be very clear. We need to be we need to be we need to be almost delusional, but really whatever it takes, so that you understand that you're not a victim to anything. You're not a victim to your living circumstances. You're not a victim to your life. No one alive can make you a victim. You are in total control of your life. Totally. And I think I've mentioned this. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this in previous readings. Everything we do is so that we can understand so that we can realize and awaken to how far it is that we control our lives. And it's a lot. The way that we control our life is something, it's indescribable. It's indescribable. And we'd be shocked. Um um Sorry. Hmm. Um So, on that note, on the note of discernment, understanding our victimhood frequency, and understanding what we can actually do about being healers and about being light workers or whatever it is that you want to call yourself. Because it's one thing to call ourselves these things, follow people who call themselves these things, but it's starting to become futile. And we're starting, honestly, the whole lot of us are starting to blend into like the colonizer language of people who, I actually posted about this on my Instagram profile. I've forgotten what it's called now, but there's a strand of, as I mentioned, new age spirituality that does nothing. It does nothing. They just have wonderful fancy words, but the root of it is offering indigenous knowledge. Um as I mentioned, actually, here, the root of it is people taking age old knowledge, repackaging it and selling it in order to make money. Um, the whole lot of us need to be very careful about doing that, including people who do little tarot reading specials and uh I mean everyone, everybody, we all need to reroute, understand our intention so that we understand how we're different from excuse me, so that we understand how we're different from like a blonde-haired girl who had one really awesome shroom trip and then awakened from that and decided that she can help other people do this kind of thing, you know? But that's also very like very topical example. I don't even remember how I just phrased that and I just said it just now. So um yeah, something I'm feeling like we need to be more action oriented. I think that's very Aries season coded, Neptune Aries. Um and yeah, I think that's all I have to mention on that. Um and then I have um oh, I've put here dipping out of idolization, which I mentioned is part of the way that we show up for people in the healing community, spiritual shamans, whatever. Dipping out of idolization and grounding yourself in appreciation of things and other people, knowing that's something within you waiting to be fully embraced or embodied. So knowing that when you see someone like Beyonce, um, you're seeing something that you can embody, that you're capable of being as well. And not just because and not separating yourself from her just because she's Beyonce. Um, and then on separations, um, I typed further separations from people you were convinced were kin. Their truth continues to finding out about them. Then this is regard to the victimhood, working through the pain residue of colon so that you can be more open to abundance and simply more open in general to life so that you can allow life to flow through you slash as you. Um, because that's also I think one of the ultimate goals of like being alive is to allow life to flow through you so that energy doesn't get stuck in your body or stuck in your surroundings, stuck in your energetic field. And then you end up manifesting, attracting things that are not in alignment with your light, your innards. Um, and then the last bit I have here, which has to do with the issue, one of the problems I have with new spirituality right now, um, is the way that we address the idea of spiritual purity slash cleanliness and the way that we uphold high frequency vibes versus low frequency vibes. Um, striving, I put here striving for a perfect state of being. So striving for this perfectly healed version of you. Um, and how, again, that as an offering is packaged and sold to you just for the sake of making money. Um, and just how capitalistic this industry can become and is becoming, considering how popular the everything spirituality is becoming right now, you know. All of that to say that nothing is dirty and there's no one perfectly healed version of you that will ever exist. And anyone that you see practicing shamanism, offering services, even myself, we're all full of our own shit. And there's no way that any of us can be perfect. I don't think I literally do not think it's possible to exist in that form. Mostly because that the form itself doesn't exist. And um, Be wary of anyone's packaging their services or their truths in a way that separates them from uh, low frequency. And understand as well that low frequency vibrations, just saying it sounds um, kind of funny. But anyway, low frequency vibrations themselves are not, um, I mean, when you say it, understand what you're talking about. It's not just some low frequency, dirty, unwanted, whatever. Every single thing that happens, every moment, even the flaws and the shadows, in a really painful way, are useful and important. And none of that should be shunned if you want to come out of this journey of samsara whole. None of that can be ignored. And even the low frequency vibes are what make you holistically perfect. If you really want to strive to be perfect, then rather strive to be whole. Um, and then I've suggested here as things that can help ground us through these times of illusion and practicing discernment. Please, I will link the profile in the description of this live stream. Please follow Healing from Healing. And um, I recently, uh, yeah, it was just today, remembered Waking Life, which was created at the turn of the century. If you haven't heard of it, please watch it. And even if you have, I suggest you watch it again. There are some incredible gems in that film that, for me, were very grounding to remember what I'm up against. Because as things are falling apart and the energies are shifting and da 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 da, and that's another phrase we're all saying. We're all talking and repeating over and over again about energies are shifting, and it's just like, at this point, I just sometimes I feel like, what are we even saying? What are we saying? Like, what does that even mean? What does that mean? Hey, Pearl. Um, yeah, it's just sometimes because yeah, as I've said, it's because of how everything is just feeling so and looking so like wow. Uh, I've often been left with very existential emotions and questions of like, what are we actually doing? Because of how everything is just so wild, so unpredictable, so uncertain, how can we bring meaning into our daily lives? How can we actually find discernment when there's so much distraction? How is it actually possible? It's one thing to just blasé say, oh yeah, no, just focus your intuition, focus on your lights, um align with what no longer serves you. Da, 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 da. But like, yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind. Every day I feel like I'm losing my mind, actually. And that's why it's been so important for me to just zone in on the question of what are you doing? What can you do in each moment? What can you do? That what action can you simple action can you do right now that can make sure that you are aligned? Um, it can be as simple as checking in on a friend, calling a friend, which is something that I'm still very, very, very awful at. So then I try to hang out with my family, hang out with my nephew, hang out with my son, try to organize um, some kind of togetherness between them, between the children of the home. I clean, I try to clean, clean whatever needs to be cleaned. Look at the space around you and see how you can make it better, see how you can make it feel better. I observe myself in the mirror to see what I can do to adjust my relationship with my life. Maybe my posture needs some improvement. Um, Maybe I need to drink more water. I was on the phone with a friend yesterday who was saying how she's been very, very exhausted, and that yesterday was the first shower she'd taken since Wednesday. And I mean, she's so incredibly well put together, and she's stunning, and honestly hates ever presenting as she just hates being like a gross, dirty version of herself. So just her admitting that was incredible. So maybe that's something that you can consider for yourself, just being able to admit to yourself when you're either not in the mood, or you've been not in the mood for too long and it's enough now and you have to pull it together. Just little things, you know what I mean? Little things, but it feels like something about the way we are right now needs to be more Aries oriented, not just action, but intention. And personally, I don't know a more intentional sign than Aries. Um, in the sense that, like, the space between the space between the way they action things out and wherever it is the intention that their action comes from, the space is very small. It's very inspirational. Versus someone like me who's water dominant, Scorpio stellium, the space between what I action out and what my intention is huge, because I'm constantly thinking about, why am I doing this thing? What space will it come from? What are the consequences of that thing? Aries barely considers consequences. They just do the thing. So I've been feeling very inspired by them and by that frequency. And it feels like it's going to be very important, especially with regards to your spirituality, which I think is the Neptune Aries thing. I also saw today a tweet speak about how there is some transit happening, and I've actually felt it energetically. There's a transit happening that allows us to put final decisions on which I th- on what I think I've been talking about during this live stream. Final decisions on our intentions, final decisions on how it is that we want to, on how we want our lives to reflect our truths. Final decisions on our truths. Um, my mom was telling me about an experience she had with a friend, and that experience was very similar to what I was experiencing, which is that both of us are just essentially trying to zone in on communities and friendships that reflect the same kind of beliefs that we do on a personal level. And it was a very subtle thing with both of us, a very, very, very subtle thing that showed us about these friends that actually, I don't think we're on the same frequency. I don't think we believe the same things about friendship. I don't think we believe the same things about each other. And we, for both of us, my mother and I, we felt um, this might be the wrong place for us to be investing our friendship energy into. And that shift of realizing that we're in the wrong place is nothing more than a reflection of intention, what we intend for ourselves as individuals, what we believe we deserve, um, and what we believe our truths are. So I think that's what's coming online now, especially. It's what's been coming online. I think it's been online for a few weeks now. It's been under construction. Our truths have been under deep, deep construction. And it feels like we're getting closer and closer. But as we get closer, obviously the illusions become more intense, the tricks become more trickier. And yeah, I love the word interesting. I want to say it's going to be interesting. It's always interesting, isn't it? I do think it's going to be. I mean, I can't. I think I think that life is going to feel a lot more like what it's supposed to feel like. It's supposed to have felt this way the whole time. It's supposed to have been fun. Nothing is supposed to be so serious and um Life isn't supposed to be that way. We're not here to feel that heaviness. We're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to have fun through everything, even through the sadness and the low vibrational frequencies. We're supposed to be having a lot of fun on earth, in our human bodies, in our human existences. And we're getting closer and closer. And if you can just do that, if you can just have fun, try to make the most fun out of everything, even out of the moments of misalignments or feelings of fear or anything like that. Just try to have fun and try to be true to yourself. I'm honestly tired of hearing myself say that, because what else are we doing here? What else are we doing at this point but being true to ourselves? So, we'll pull some cards. Anyone in the room, please let me know how you're doing. Okay. hmm We have the Five of Rods. I can't imagine what that might be about, although I think it may have something to do. So, this card in this deck speaks of playing your role in community, playing your role in familial or career structures, and finding your place, finding which rod you need to hold on to so that the whole machine moves properly. It does also speak of conflict, but I think it more has to do with just finding your role and being more intentional about what you think your role is. An interesting question that I'm remembering now was unpacked sometime during the previous few weeks. My sister asked, what role do you think you would play at the end of the world, during an apocalypse? I think that whatever your answer is to that question, is a very good, a very good indicator of what you should be doing with your life in general. Um, I mentioned that I would probably be looking after the kids in whatever way possible. And I think it links very nicely to the realizations I've been having, especially over these past few days, about how important I think children are in general, and how important the children in my lineage are to us as this family. Uh, and how personally proud I am of myself for uh, being so being so centered on them and on the role of the lineage in general, that I'm willing to sacrifice everything I know, everything that I am. I've really put my ego on the line for my bloodline and for this role that I think I need to play. So I hope that you feel the same. That's how I know that I'm aligned with my truth, because I would sacrifice anything. I would honestly rather die than have to do what I'm than have to steer away from this path that I'm walking on. I'd rather die. And that's how I know that I'm holding the right stick for myself. So I hope that that's the case for you, and if not, then I think that's going to be that's the truth of that is going to come to light this week. Let's see what else this card is saying. Yeah. So we have the Magician. The way that it was falling out looked like it tried to fall out in reverse. So I will explore the idea of that. But I think that we have more or less, we have the energy of what I'm saying is that um, we're finding our roles, finding our truths in our community, finding our truth in our life, and then actioning it, using the energy and power that we have to be assertive and play that role. Do the thing. Do the thing that you think you need to do. um, be and embody the kind of person that you want to be, or be the change you want to see in the world. That kind of thing. And like I said, it did try to fall out in reverse. So I'd like to explore that. So um, the upright interpretation, I've read this before, so I'm just going to read out sentences that jump out to me. Awareness of personal values so that ethical choices can be made. the interrelationship of many different dimensions and how these can be made to work for rather than against you. The direct application of will to manifest an idea or a dream. And in this case, I think it goes as far as manifesting, as mentioned, your role, how you want your life to be, how you want to be in your community. We're all part of communities. I think if you don't if you don't have a good idea of like who you are and what your true role is, try to understand it relative to your family, the friends who you most relate to, the friends who you've decided to keep around after this Venus retrograde, because I'm sure it's done a lot of wiping. The Venus retrograde and Libra full moon, it's done a lot of wiping out of people who you thought would be in your corner for evsies, but y'all don't really belong together like that. So relative to the friends you've had to let go of, the connections you've had to let go of, and the connections that you've decided to keep even closer, you can use that to understand who you are. Um, Considering the upright version, I actually no longer think that the reversed version applies. Although the reversed version of the magician does mention the risk of willpower being misdirected and the flow of energy blocked, leading to feelings of dread, fear, and instability. But it's relative to what I'd mentioned before, is to say that what we're working against that. We're working so that that no longer happens. So that even when it does happen, even feelings of dread and anxiety as they arise, you understand that it's not just I mean, yes, it may be that you are responding in anxiety or dread to something external happening to you, but it can be something as easily cleared, because some situations, there are situations that you kind of have to sit through and allow to play out, some anxiety ridden, dreadful situations that you have to allow to play out. As you allow them to play out, you use your assertion to allow that energy to flow. It's why, I mean, I'm sure we understand it's why movement is important, and tending to the body and being aware of the body, and breathing is very important. Taking deep breaths. Um, I feel called to look into the Five of Rods. Only going to read sentences that jump out. Yes, assertion, healthy competition, um, intuitive knowledge of society's ritual behavior, which I think is so that you can understand where you fit in to that ritualistic behavior, and the ability to work with groups. Um, yeah, I really think that these two cards are beckoning to the idea that this week you will need to put yourself in a community or start existing relative to the community, integrating all the self work that we've been doing, as I mentioned, all the self work we've been doing for the past few weeks, integrate ourselves back into the community and into the other with more empowerment, healthy assertion, final releasing of any semblance of victimhood. You are never a victim, ever, of nothing. No one can make you feel any way that you do not want to feel. No one can question your authority over your life. And no one can put their power or authority over your life. It's always yours. Everything about your life is yours. No one can say, people can only say, the thing that you did, I reacted in that way and it left me feeling this way. But nobody can point to you and say, you made me feel this way. No, they didn't. They reacted to what you did and then they felt that way. You don't make anyone feel any way. Everybody, each of us, choose the way that we feel, or the way that we feel creeps up, before our knowing, in reaction to some past trauma, in response to some past blocked energy within us. But no one is responsible. This is coming out. No one is responsible for how anyone else feels. I actually had somebody accusing me of doing that when I was letting them know about something that they did that I was in complete disagreement with, that made that left me feeling distrusting towards them. Just by me expressing that, they went and said, "Oh no, you are trying to put your emotional, you are trying to make me responsible for the way that you feel." Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm just expressing how I feel. And that's what I think we would have to make sure that we look out for. Maybe that's something that may arise. You express how you feel and then someone says, "Oh, you're making me responsible for your emotions." No, you're just expressing how you feel. And there's nothing wrong with expressing how you feel and owning the way you feel. There's nothing wrong with feeling the way that you feel as well. While it is that we're all responsible for our own individual emotions, you're a human. We're going to feel everything. So own your feelings as well. Own any feelings that come up. Period. Exactly. So in our quest to feel the way we feel our truth, feel empowered, feel abundant, all of these things, we have to also I think that this has to do with being assertive about the way that we feel our feelings and being assertive about frequencies of abundance. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last week though as well. Feel the abundance. Feel the abundance. Feel the harmony within your community. Feel the belonging and know that you belong. With regards to my weird habit of isolation, I've been feeling deep guilt over the fact that I haven't reached out to anyone and I've just been isolating, doing my thing. I have needed to learn. I needed to learn to trust my friends, trust my role, trust my role in the communities that I've been part of, trust that they care enough about me to always forgive me, be assertive. I've had to be assertive about the faith that I have in my friend's ability to forgive me. I've also at the same time had to trust in my in my ability to show up as myself, because that, like I said, like I mentioned last week, is part of the reason why I struggle with isolation, is because I'm always trying to show up as perfect as possible to my community so that I don't spill all of my negativity, depression, whatever onto them. But yeah, in all of that, I've had to trust that I will always be forgiven. Trust that I will always be forgiven. Community. I think these two cards falling out together as well, this is also very beautiful and maybe a gorgeous symbolism of potential unions between friends, maybe lovers, possible new relationships. Um, I keep getting this frequency, new relationships. I don't know though if people who tune, if this, the, if specifically people who tune into my work are going to come into actual unions anytime soon, because I've been feeling a lot like something about romance right now would kind of slow us down. Um, because honestly, what's on the streets just isn't worthy of our frequency, especially if it is that we're trying to get to this through this like power and self assertion. This person is controlling the fire and the winds, they're controlling the weather, they're controlling the elements. Whoever we are set up to be in romance with has to either match our power and be able to control the elements with us, or be humble enough to respect the fact that we are powerful enough to do this and let us do our thing. It's the chances of us finding someone with this kind of power, or with being able to humble themselves to and respect this kind of power, are quite slim, to be honest. especially considering that we're all waking up to this. We're all awakening up to this within us. We're all going at our own slow paces. So I don't know. It's something totally. It's something within itself. To expect union. However, this card falling out with this card and this card um is giving something, it's giving something. And if you're in a relationship right now or you're in something that's budding, then rest assured it's coming to something fruitful and beautiful, and you can trust anyone that comes into your life this week, anyone coming to you with offerings. You can also trust that they will be a reflection of you being able to find this within yourself, because this card also does speak to it speaks to true commitment and companionship in friendship and in love. May also be in community, family. It's a very beautiful card. We're in for very beautiful energy. Um, hmm. I've read this before, and I can imagine that anyone who has tuned into my readings before will remember this, but I just want to read the sentence again. The conscious evocation, along with this card, the magician, right? The conscious evocation of happiness, acting as if happy, in brackets, depending on motivation. This is no bad thing. The conscious evocation of happiness. We must demand our abundance from the universe, from our community. And if anyone in your life does not show up in that role, in the role of acknowledging and honoring your abundance and the way that you are deserving of it, and I'm talking in something as little as to relate and personalize what it is that I experience. While I know to disclaim that this is a reflection of how I treat myself and a reflection of my inner world, something that I do constantly experience is is the whole thing of showing up dedicatingly, loyally to people who do not show up for me in that same way. And what I've realized, especially recently, is that sometimes it's unfortunately that some people simply do not have the tools. They don't have the capacity. It's nothing personal. Um, and it's nothing against them. They just don't know how to show up for me as well as I know how to show up for them. So it's not that they're cut, but it is that they're definitely getting less of my time. And that's just how it is, because I know that I deserve better. I know that I deserve better. I deserve the best. I deserve an exact kind of an exact reflection of the care and love that I am capable of giving out. I deserve that. So I have every right to be assertive and to demand the kind of love and respect I'm capable of giving out. And I don't have to tell anyone about it. I can just be specific about where I spill my energy into. So being conscious about mm, about the role that I play, being conscious about the groups and communities that I'm part of, and only and pouring more of my energy into communities and dynamics that I know can offer me the kind of energy I give back. And again, nothing personal. It's just a matter of me requesting this. I want a true reflection of this, of what I know I deserve. Nothing personal. So the 10 of cups, what jumps out to me is a commitment to an idea or commitment to personal values, which I've just mentioned here. Commitment, so to personalize it, a commitment to the personal value of knowing that I deserve in connection, friendship, relationships, I deserve what I'm capable of giving. And I'm capable of giving incredible emotional attention. I'm capable of making people feel very emotionally safe. So I deserve that back. I'm choosing that. And I commit to choosing that for myself. I commit to choosing scenarios, connections, and relationships that reflect this um, integrity, love, justified trust, a satisfying long term relationship with a lover, a child, or a friend. And I love that because I'm currently intentionally, as I've been mentioning over and over again in this reading, I'm intentionally cultivating a more present and loving relationship with the children in my life, particularly um, my nephew, obviously my son. And, because people change as individuals, even as children, we change, we evolve. It's even to my son, it's taken a recommitting, a relearning um, of myself, of myself relative to him, of him relative to me, just the commitment. It takes a lot of incredible commitment, this kind of practice of knowing social rituals, knowing the roles you play in groups. It takes an incredible amount of commitment. But what we've done over these past few weeks is learning about this commitment relative to our own selves. Now we can finally know how to play that role in commitment to the communities that we're part of. Now we can properly manifest a romantic relationship, a proper one that's a true reflection of our truths, of our abundance, of what we deserve. Now we're in better positions to manifest a lover, manifest new friendships, networking opportunities, whatever. But with the Five of Rods, like I've said, we are more on the road to manifesting new community groups, um, networking. I tweeted as well today that I'm hoping to turn these interactions into Zoom calls or just something more interactive because I feel like this is, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how sustainable or beneficial this is. This this still feels like a me thing in order for me to work through my visibility and my ability to be confident and to confidently read on the spot, know how to read cards and offer this kind of service. But yeah, who knows? Maybe this week will be the week that I initiate the idea of turning this into like a Zoom call, something more interactive than this. Plus, I think that these kind of things are a lot easier to pass over. Anyone will sign up for some free virtual Zoom call, collective gathering, whatever. I also did see, just by the way, I'll post that in the description of this video as well, that there is it's called Africa Rise. Um, some some Zoom call that gathers African elders, sangomas, shamans, etc., that are going to talk about the importance of Africa. They're mostly, I've recognized a few faces that come from the South African spiritual community. Um, I plan on attending those, and I think it's always good for us to keep our antennas out for people who are like us. I'm going to pull one more card, and then I think that's me wrapping it up. Although I actually think that these cards are amazing. I don't think there's anything more to add, to be honest. I really don't think there's anything more to add. I'm going to pull one more just for vibes, just because it's been an hour and this is how I close off with one more card. Okay, so maybe there is a new relationship coming. Wow. Oh, I love this. Oh. Ooh, interesting. So we have the tower, we have the world, we have the Queen of Discs, which speaks of a homemaker, a woman who loves to make a home beautiful. Essentially a housewife, but a very proud one, and someone who goes out of her way to make herself look good, make her home look good, tend to the home. The moon. This is interesting. The Hierophant. Ciao. I'm wondering if I'm allowed to say that there's a new relationship coming. because I'm feeling all blushy. The Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups. And the nine with the Nine of Cups, like these are cupsies. It's just so I don't know. I don't know. I'm scared to say it, but I really hope a new relationship comes for you. And it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a little bit surprising. It's gonna be something that you don't see. It may be something that you oh duh. It's gonna be something you don't see coming. Hi Mancha. Oh, I wish it, and I was actually just about to end this off, but this energy that I'm receiving from the Nine of Cups and the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups is making me blush. It's making me blush. Oh, it's so exciting. And it's meant to be. Oh my god. You know what? Yo, guys, this is making me blush so much. This is making me blush so much. Oh my god. I hope that a new romance is on the horizon. I hope that these cards are telling the truth. I really hope so. I hope that someone comes into your life, treats you well, is assertive, takes you out on dates, plans the dates. One of those things that's like just dress nice. Don't worry about anything else. Just dress pretty. Wear your best dress. I hope they send you a dress. You know what I mean? I hope it's something like that. I hope it's sweep you off your feet, make you feel good, make you feel like this figure in the card. This is exciting. These cards together like this, Two of Cups included. Oh gosh. Okay. Now that's it. That's it. This is perfect. This as a closing card is really telling me potentially new relationships, new connections, an opportunity to flirt a little. I love flirting, you. Some kissy kissy, some touchy touchy. Oh my gosh, some togetherness. Just because this retrograde in Libra full moon for me was unexpectedly isolating. I was very alone and craving just company throughout. So I'm really hoping that for us, randomly bumping into someone you might really like at the shops or something, like, this is too cute. Okay, bye everyone. I'm so excited at the potential of new love and commitment and running into abundance and running into the realization of how powerful you are. Ugh, and the divinity of it all. You understand? A divine alignment. This is gonna be perfect. I think it's gonna be a very, 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 very cute week. It's gonna be such a cute week. May it be true. You understand? May it be true. New relationships, great kissing, great sex, soft touch, good treatment, romantic dates, etc., etc., etc. And if none of that, then at the very least, empowerment. And in knowing are in control of your reality. You are powerful. You control the winds and the fires of your life. It's all in your hands. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Have a lovely week.